They're just about to come back into this packed Wembley and the MC Norman de Mosquito.
Time now to welcome back Ronnie O'Sullivan and Steve Davis.
John Street's been having trouble keeping this audience quiet with his electric downers. Steve Davis, 4-all at the interval, and has seen Ronnie O'Sullivan take all 4 played so far tonight with remarkable snooker. He leads 8-4.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The 13th frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break. Thank you.
7 to play. He needs 2 of those to become the champion for the 2nd time in 3 years. And for our last session of commentary, all the way through to the finish, Ray Edmonds is there with Dennis Taylor, who, like Steve Davis, has made a record 17 appearances here at the Masters. He's seen it all. Good evening, Dennis and Ray.
Good evening, David. And what a tall order for Steve Davis. But there's one thing for sure. Steve Davis will fight right to the end. But Ray, this is some session of snooker we've witnessed here this evening from this young man.
Yes, Steve Davis, I think, was holding him at 5-4. He was well in the lead in frame 10, and 1 error. 52 points behind, and Ronnie pulled it back, and since then Steve's not had a look in. Well, that'll be called a miss.
12-4 and a miss. Steve Davis.
Had to get a thinnish contact on that red to avoid contact with the red to the right cushion. I don't think that could be right, Dennis, because certainly Ronnie could hit this red.
Yes, I think he was getting the white back in the correct position, and then he was going to move the green, so it'll be pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of the player and referee sorting it out. Steve won't even bother coming to the table, he'll agree. Now we've got an interesting situation. That's the 2nd miss.
4
so the referee will have to warn Ronnie. If he misses again, he'll forfeit the frame.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at the situation, though, Dennis, he really has no margin of error. He has got to hit it so thin to miss the red to the right on the cushion. So, well, it looks as if he's trying it again. No. He's risked leaving Steve the red down the cushion. And, well, Steve will approach this one with some trepidation, having been severely punished on every error. We know these aren't easy. only forced into an error there because, again, he was in trouble. Hit the first red, didn't mean to. And although he's taken the cue ball down to the other end because he went in off, there's a red here. But can Steve hold for the black? Probably won't attempt to.
One.
Blue won't go to the corner. Very thin cut to the middle.
Well, that's amazing. The blue stopped right over the pocket. It's half in. But at least he didn't get a favourable cannon and leave an easy red on, so nothing straightforward for Ronnie.
One.
Be interesting here to see if Steve attempts to pop the blue and maybe free the black ball. It's tied up at the moment. He's got a few loose reds he could play for, but it might be worth risking that. Whatever he attempted, he'd like to have another go at it.
Well, I'm fairly sure there's no pot on it. It's just a matter of trying to find the most awkward spot for the white.
6. Steve Davis.
Well, he hasn't got the cue ball on the cushion, and there might just be a shot to nothing here for Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's knocked a few of these in today already. The one danger, I think, to Ronnie O'Sullivan, apart from a Steve Davis revival, of course, is whether he just starts to get over the winning line too quickly.
One.
Steve Davis, much too good a player to take liberties with.
6. 7. 13.
He's created a very good chance for himself now. The black is still a bit hampered, but the pink's nicely in the open. He really got into that one. Cue ball on the side cushion makes it a little bit more difficult. I think you can get to the red
19.
next to the black. A little wry smile from Steve. He just can't get the cue ball where he wants it present.
Well, without the nudge on the yellow, he might just have had the pace to get nicely onto a red to the left. He can still get through to the one halfway between pink and black. Well, now if the pink goes, he's now
26.
I was going to say he's now got perfect position, but it doesn't go as you see. So he really is working very hard, and if he's going to continue this break, quite spectacular shot wanted now.
Yes, I don't think we'll be seeing any spectacular shots from Steve here. Just be a good safety shot. He's got a 45-point lead. Doesn't want to leave an easy opportunity for Ronnie. Might even not be a bad idea to knock the blue onto the side cushion when playing the safety shot.
Blue ball. Six, 3-0.
That's a possible shot, but I think he's going to play the one to the left of the pink and come down a similar sort of path.
Great safety shot from Ronnie, and Steve aware that he's been in front once or twice today and one error, and Ronnie O'Sullivan has then pinched the frame, and the balls aren't situated too badly, so he's got to be careful, Steve Davis, here.
Well, a round of applause for the white not going in the pocket, and it might be a snooker behind the angle. That is right in against the knuckle of the pocket, and he's having to swerve it, as you can see. But he played it well. Pushed a red towards the corner pocket. Steve won't have any idea where the cue ball's going here, but he's got to make sure of the pot.
One.
I think he's okay. He can take the yellow and screw back up for the reds.
Three. Four. Ten. 11.
Just needs one more red.
17.
And I'm sure this near capacity crowd want this match to go on and on. They'd love to see a comeback
18.
from the old master. This could be the start.
Yes, Ray, I think the interval did come at the right time
24.
for Steve Davis, because before the interval, Ronnie O'Sullivan, well, devastating, wasn't he? He had breaks of
25.
96, 72, 121, 67. But I'm sure Steve Davis knows that the interval
31.
sometimes changes things around.
32.
Yes, Steve only scored a
39.
total of 11 points in the 2 frames before the interval.
40.
Ronnie completely monopolising the scoring, but this time Ronnie's not had a pot.
$47. 48.
This is
55.
Steve's biggest break of the match, just when it was desperately needed.
57. $64. 64.
Well, he didn't clear the table, but
A great 64 break from Steve Davis. Keeps him in this match, but he's still 3 behind at 8-5. And that was really what Steve Davis had to do if he was going to stop the gallop of this young man. He threatened to take over the match completely, and well, that was a magnificent effort from Steve, Dennis. I just wondered if Ronnie was looking over his shoulders a little bit. It sometimes happens when you're way in front.
Steve here has certainly given Ronnie something to think about. The fact that he didn't let Ronnie score a point in that frame will be a big advantage to Steve, but he knows he's got an awful long way to go, and he'll just play one frame at a time. He's 8-5 down. There's an awful lot of Steve Davis supporters in the crowd. There's an awful lot of Ronnie O'Sullivan supporters here, but I think the majority would like to see, as you said, Ray, see Steve make a comeback here. So the next frame is going to be very, very important.
Well, certainly Steve has been around long enough to know that if things turn, he can soon win 2 or 3 frames on the trot. So John Street just waits for the crowd to settle. There's always a lot of enthusiasm at the Wembley Conference
Thank you, ladies and
Centre.
gentlemen. The 14th frame. Steve
As long as they
to
stop
break.
shouting on the shot.
Thank you.
Was an unforced error from the young man. He wasn't in any trouble there, just a lapse.
1.
What a great chance for Steve. Just look at the balls. There's, what, 5 or 6 reds, nicely placed. The black is clear into both corner pockets. Oh, we got a bad kick there.
7.
That stopped the cue ball from running through at least another 12 inches. He can still pot the black, but, well, you could tell by the noise it made that he got a bad contact.
14. 15. 22. 23. 30. 31.
Well, now, a bit straight on the black. Probably a deep screw back for the loose red to the left. Well, would you believe it? He's just tried to control it.
31.
Took his eye off the black, obviously.
Steve Davis.
That's a bad miss.
Thank you, gentlemen. One. Eight. 9. 16. 17.
A little bit of tension
17.
starting to creep in for both
Ronnie
players.
Sullivan.
Smile from Ronnie, but he was concentrating on the cannon into the pack. He misses a black off the spot. But he may have got away with it. I'm not sure if the red next to the white will pot into the left corner pocket. If it does, well, there's plenty of room.
Steve looked at that long and hard, and I think he was trying to open the reds off the cushion and hold for the black. And again, wasn't a difficult pot. How often do we see this? Virtually nothing being missed. One player misses a couple, the other does, and all of a sudden the fluency goes out of the play.
One.
Well, there's a very interested spectator. I wonder, has he got a little microphone with him? That is the famous Whispering Ted Lowe, who you've listened to for many, many years. Nice to see him here at the Benson Hedges. Hasn't worked out for Steve. A little bit unfortunate with the cannon there into the reds. I think the problem of just clipping off a red to go down the table, he's just worried about the right middle pocket. You've got the 3 reds there next to the white. The other red, he could just glance off that, but he's just worried about the middle pocket being in the way. Of course, he can't just go down the table. He could leave the red on for the right corner, so you'd have to be very accurate with that.
Eight. Steve Davis.
Be interesting to see if Ronnie takes the cue ball down the table off the reds. He's got the similar problem. Well, he's left a couple of tempters for Steve Davis.
Yes, I don't think he's got the natural angle to go around the back of the black off the left of those 2 reds. He'd have to get the butt of the cue in the air a bit, I think, to miss the black, use a bit of power. Well, that could have been a lot easier, but I think it'll cut.
One. One. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Somewhere along those lines might take Steve to the red that's behind the black. Maybe just a little bit closer to the middle pocket with the first line there. Yes, he reached the red, so... The only problem with this, Ronnie might be able to cut this red in. It's a very thin one.
Well, it was risky. 21 points behind Ronnie O'Sullivan. And surely, if Steve can knock this red to the right middle, he'll win the frame from here.
One. 7. Eight.
Steve will have worked it out in his mind. He knows that he'll need one of the reds that's close to the top cushion. 29 points in front. If he takes the blue. That would put him 33 in front. So he's still got a bit to do.
$13.
And he's looking for an angle on the
14.
black here, just to drop behind one of the reds or nudge one into play. Either way, this is definitely a big chance.
Yes, I think he might be better maybe just trying to cannon onto the left of the two reds. Well, he decided
21.
just to leave this awkward little shot along the cushion.
Seen that this week. When
21.
the pressure's on, tricky little shots down the cushions, and he's 42 points in front. 43 on now.
1.
You'll remember that one if Ronnie clears up from here.
Yes, Ray, I would have been tempted to have played the cannon and moved the red into an
8.
easier potable position.
9.
Concedes. He's had enough.
Now
He's
Ronnie
asked Steve
Sullivan,
if he minds. I'm sure Steve doesn't. So the tension may be getting to the young man. Had a great chance there to pinch one. He didn't. Steve Davis now just 2 behind at 8-6.
8-6. Is it getting to the young man was the question. Same question I put to you, John. Surely he wouldn't have got overconfident after that amazing session of 4 in a row.
Well, as we were saying, he plays a different type of game to most players I think we've ever seen, so it's difficult to say with Ronnie. He's gone for a few reckless shots, but he's done that earlier on in the match, and they've gone in, and we've been saying what great shots they were. I think Steve's done well. I mean, I think Steve Davis is probably one of the few players left in the game, Stephen Hendry possibly, but he'd do it with break building, who will not be fazed by Ronnie playing as well as he did in the first 4 frames, and he'll just hang on in there and hope that Ronnie just starts missing a few, and that's what's happened.
I think we saw the difference in that little chat we had with him after the afternoon session, where Dave was still bubbling, saying, oh, it's this and this, and Ronnie was very down, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I think from after what happened the first 2 frames, Steve 3-1 down, to be 4 each at the mid-session interval, Steve was entitled to be the happier player. But then we've seen what Ronnie can do. But every credit to Steve. Where he gets this enthusiasm from, I really don't know. The years he's been doing it, it's amazing.
Well, he's been doing it for years. Ronnie hasn't been doing it for that long. The big difference in their careers, Ronnie's just come back in there, leading 8 frames to 6. And as I say, what a contrast. 4 in a row from 4 all this afternoon. All the snooker you wish to see. One of the most electric sessions I think we've ever seen, including that break of 121, 3 in the final. And now, somewhere, somehow, the nugget, the old master from the 80s, has
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The 15th frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
found the way to pull 2 back. Just to remind you again, first to 10. There are 5 more scheduled in the final here tonight.
this black effect, Ronnie. He is the type of player, I think, who, as John Bago says, the way he plays the game, just tend to just let things wash over him. And by the look of that one, it's already forgotten the black.
1, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Oh, this is not straightforward for Steve Davis. With the reds just a couple either side of the bunch there, he's got to be careful if he just nettles into the pack. And there you've got a shot of this Wembley Conference Centre. Some 2,500 people here. There's no other venue like it. There's safety players and safety players in the game. Steve Davis just keeps putting that white in such awkward positions. Always difficult to see a way back down the table. Well, Ronnie took the pot on. Couldn't see an easy path down the table. Just look what he's left for Steve. Not many reds safe. And that picture.
One.
Well, surely he's not covered the path to the black. I think he can just get there.
Eight. Nine.
I think one of the complications here are that there are too many reds available. It's a matter of choosing which one to go for. Spoilt for choice. Have to come back for the black into the same pocket.
17.
Yes, Rez, those two reds to the left of the black that are blocking each other into the left corner pocket, they're just causing slight problem for Steve. Black just available into the one corner pocket. But it would be very difficult not to finish on a red, as you said, red, the way they're situated.
$25. $28. $29.
See, the pink's tied up. That's his problem. And with that black only being available into the one corner pocket, he's having to work a little bit now with his positional side of play. Long way to go with the cue ball here. He's got to avoid the yellow and the brown.
$34.
Well, he's got a few nicknames of Steve Davis. He's called the Nugget, the Ginger Magician. If he could somehow win this match, I think the Ginger Magician might stick again.
$35.
I think the pink will go to the right corner. So Ronnie has to sit in the chair there and contemplate that missed chance in the last frame, and then pretty bad shot has allowed Steve
42.
to get this break. And it's beginning to look as if it might be a frame winning break.
49. $50. $57. $58. $65.
I think Steve Davis will just make sure of clinching the frame here, and then he'll start thinking about the high break prize.
66.
His opponent holds the high break, 121. And Steve can now give that his full
73.
concentration. And this is an
74.
absolutely magnificent display from this man.
$81. $82.
Well, as I travel around the country playing exhibitions, you get an awful lot of people saying to you,
89.
whatever has happened to Steve Davis? Well, the answer is nothing. Here he is, final of a major tournament, playing as well as ever.
$90. $96. $97.
So this pink for Steve Davis's first century of the 97 Masters. And what a time to get it. This is certain to put doubts in Ronnie O'Sullivan's mind.
108. $112.
And as Dennis said,
117.
1-2-1 was the highest by Ronnie, so a double penalty for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
123.
Looks as if he's lost his chance so far of that £15,000 prize. A mighty roar from this conference centre crowd. Fully deserved as an immaculate 130 break from Steve Davis takes him to within just one frame at 8-7. And the applause from the crowd says it all. Wonderful, wonderful break, and well, they want to see it go all the way, and Steve Davis is doing his best to make sure it does. And I'm just wondering how this will affect Ronnie O'Sullivan now, Dennis.
Well, what can you do about that? I don't think Ronnie was expecting Steve to throw that sort of break at him, but he certainly has. You'd still have to say Ronnie O'Sullivan was favourite to take the title. But just going back to Steve Davis there, the ultimate professional, he acknowledged the crowd, held his hand up when they applauded the century break, and it's great to see that, Ray.
Yes, the determination on that face is still there as well, and I think he's really enjoying it out there. He's enjoying the heat of the battle, and he knows that he's still in this match. So we've seen some great finals in this auditorium, and this might turn out to be one of the greatest.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
John Street patiently waiting
16th frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan
for the crowd to quieten.
Sorry, Steve Davis to break.
And all that waiting, he lost his memory. And it's back again now. The atmosphere is really electric.
Well, earlier in this match, Ronnie O'Sullivan played some terrific safety to give himself an opening against Steve Davis. He's going to have to start doing that again. Well, tempter for Steve Davis. Oh, just look at that concentration. He seems to be psyching himself up. He's got a red to the left corner, which is very difficult. A red to the right corner, equally as difficult.
And that magnificent 130 from Steve was his highest break ever in the Benson Hedges Masters. 126, way back in 1987 was his highest. And what a time to produce your best.
He looks a bit disappointed, but this is not a straightforward pot.
One.
Didn't he make that look easy? Well, that's amazing. It looks as if the black will go, but it's obviously very tight. He's having a look from both ends. And it mustn't pot. Look at that.
Seven. Eight.
Well, he's not even thinking about a safety shot. A very difficult pink with the rest. This is risky.
Eight. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, it is the way Ronnie approaches the game. It's fresh, great to watch. But he's prone to errors when you play those. But more often than not, he succeeds. But it might be costly now.
Just making it a little bit awkward, stretching over the pink, but he's tall, he's thin, so there shouldn't be any problem for Steve. He's over 6 feet.
Well, that isn't what we want to hear. A gentleman shouting out as Steve was on the shot, and John Street immediately asking a member of security to keep a watch out for him. We really don't want that. Enthusiasm, yes, not when the player's down.
Yes, and that was just enough to disturb Steve's concentration. I don't think, well, would you believe it? Just have a look at the path through to the pink. That wasn't what Steve intended, but he'll take that one, thank you very much.
Well, he just had a remarkable bit of luck in being able to get through to the pink, but now, as so often happens, the turn of the coin, he's not on that red.
Seven, Steve Davis.
Well, it was a reasonable length with the cue ball, but the reds come back across the table over the corner pocket.
One.
Well, looking at Steve's face, the pink mustn't pop past the red, or it's very, very tight. Well, I don't think that'll go. I think he's playing a safety shot.
One, Steve Davis.
The yellow, green, brown and blue are nicely placed now to get a snooker behind. That's a possible angle he could get back down the table. Well, he's just taking it over to the other side, away from the colours.
think there might be just a shot to nothing here to this right corner. Cut that'll take the red, the cue ball round the red and the black and go out of harm's way. That's the red. That's the red there, marked. He's just got to avoid the other red behind the black. Ooh, he hit that one very thick and perhaps was a bit lucky not to hit anything.
A deserved round of applause there for that excellent safety shot. But the way the balls are all situated on the right side of the table is making it very difficult to get over towards the colours there. How's your luck, Steve?
Well, I think that red will go to the middle. And it just could be that little bout of safety play has helped to settle Ronnie.
I think this is probably the longest Ronnie has studied on a shot, but quite right to do so, and not straightforward, so he wants to make sure he gets the positional side of the shot as he wants.
Eight.
See, the red he's taking here is clearing a path for the black into the same pocket.
9.
But what has he played there?
Yes, I think he played to nudge the red
9.
to the right of the
Ronnie
black out of the way. But you might get as much value out of this snooker anyway.
That's a possible shot to the red behind the black. Now Steve is playing to hit the lone red, and he's got to make contact, otherwise it's a miss.
Foul 4 and a miss.
Even though he got close to the
Ronnie
red,
O'Sullivan.
referee this time calling a miss.
Okay, Ronnie.
think Ronnie can just get past the brown. Hasn't got to do a lot with the cue ball, with the yellow over the middle.
1. Three. 4. 11. 12.
Well, he's up to full speed again, Ronnie.
$19.
He's had a look at those two reds that are together. They may just be covering each other.
20.
We'll find out after the next shot.
$27.
Didn't play that one too well. 40 points in the lead. So we needed a couple more reds and colours. So I think he's going to head down behind the blue and green off this.
27. Ronnie O'Sullivan.
And the shot that Steve is debating, if this comes off, it'll bring the house down. He's going to try and flick off the red that's near the side cushion there. He'd have to hit the cushion first, a very thin contact. He'd have to go between the two reds, round the back of the black. If this comes off right, it'll be some shot.
Yeah, I'm not so sure, though, Dennis, that it is the shot, because unless he does get the cue ball behind those colours, almost certainly he's going to leave Ronnie a chance at the two reds. But maybe there's no other choice.
Well, he's now looking at the possibility of coming off the side cushion and just playing full ball onto the red that's nearest the pocket there. We shall soon see.
Well, I'm sure Steve didn't play that, but delighted with the result, obviously.
Clever shot to bring the pink out into a potable position. Ronnie doesn't really want to bring one of those reds near the cushion into play. That would be the normal shot, to play back off one of those, but he's a bit reluctant to shift them. There's no other choice. Well, he's kept them both safe.
Yes, he's left Steve a tempter, though, to the middle. put a lot of pressure on this one for Steve Davis. This one goes wrong. He could lose the frame from it. But as so often happens, if there's no other shot on, full concentration on the pot. And I think that's what Steve's elected. Well, this isn't the most difficult pot in normal circumstances, but at this stage, that's a wonderful shot. And what a chance he's given himself. And although those two reds are out of commission on that side cushion, the pink's in a very handy position to bring them into play when Steve's ready.
Five.
Yes, Ray, I think Steve will do that in a couple of shots. Just pots the brown, pots the red in the middle. And all he's got to do is leave the white where the red is.
Eight. Nine.
So here we go. What can he do with the reds? Still as cool as a cucumber.
Well, that's not a good shot from Steve. Easy cannon. He's just misjudged it.
No problem getting the cue ball down towards the yellow. He's just a little bit concerned what he's going to do with the red.
$15, Steve Davis.
Brilliant shot. Gambled on his ability to get the cue ball behind the yellow, bring both reds into play. Very close to both of them.
Steve Davis.
But what a chance now for Steve Davis to bring this match level and bring the crowd to the edge of the seats.
One.
Very, very interesting to see what... well, it looks as if he'll have to play for the black now. The yellow's off its spot. And if he had had an angle on the red, I'm sure he would have went up towards the balk end. It'd be easier to get to the yellow.
9.
So how's this young man feeling? Pretty tensed up, I'm sure. Again, producing the perfect shot when it's needed. Up
21.
to and including the pink required. Just a little shorter pace, but he should be okay.
Well, Steve Davis absolutely sets the conference centre alight. Magnificent clearance there to level this match at 8 frames all. Everything to play for.